on today.
Yeah, we are live. Oh man, let's wait to see who gets in here first, Eddie. But I got a bone to pick with some people, man.
What they say? Who said it though?
You know what I'm saying?
It all depends on who said it.
Got a bone to pick with some people, man. Who you know thought of what? Yo, man, how do I talk about this, man? So we got Danny Garcia versus Spence. The results. What was the final score, Eddie?
It was
Eddie in here. Let's see. I see. We got Eddie here.
It was 8-4 on 2 cars.
Yep.
And I think it was a 9-3 on 1.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fight. You know, I went on Instagram just now and posted highly skilled fight by both guys. And there's some people out there who kind of think that the fight wasn't highly skilled. So before we go about who we thought was the winner and the loser, if you guys didn't see the high level of skills in this fight, then I think you should reevaluate your boxing IQ. Period. I mean, there was a lot of good things being done by both fighters, okay? By both fighters. Now, I'm not being biased toward Danny Garcia. What's so bitter? I understand that a lot of people think I'm biased for Danny Garcia, but the way he was counter-punching in this fight and the way that Errol Spence was setting the pace with his jab and doing the things he was doing, that's a highly skilled fight, man. And if you didn't see Danny catching shots and shooting right off the rip, if you didn't see those things, then you need to reevaluate your boxing IQ. So that's for the people who think that this wasn't a skilled fight. Now, as far as who I thought won the fight, I thought that Danny Garcia was in the fight very competitively, and every round was won by either guy by this much. If you want to go ahead and say Errol Spence won 117, 111, I can't be really mad at that, because if you thought that Errol won all those rounds really, really close, then I could see you edging out that kind of a victory. You know what I'm saying? I could see that. If you thought that Danny won those rounds, then now we got a way closer fight. We possibly got a draw. So if I had to give it to somebody, I'm going to give it to Spence due to the activity, the jab. He was consistent throughout the night. But by all means, for you to not think that that was a skilled fight, man, that's terrible. What's your thoughts on that, Eddie, being a professional fighter? And what did you see?
Every time, and a lot of people don't give Danny credit for having a great IQ and ability to see shots and throw nice counter shots and just understand what shots to throw too. That's a big part of it, and when to throw them. That's why he got a lot of those knockouts, those big knockouts, those crazy knockouts, like with Amir Khan and what's my man's name? Your boy, your man. He knocked him out ugly, even though he was past his prime.
Morales.
Eric Morales. Like, those knockouts were big, and they were big because of his timing and his understanding, counter-punching, and when to throw shots and being able to set it up. But to say the fight wasn't skilled on both ends, I mean, Errol's jab was just a nightmare all night for Danny. And that was what really, I think, was the difference.
That's what won the fight for him.
Yeah, that's what won the fight, was the difference. But to say it wasn't skilled, like, don't make sense to me at all.
Right.
Because a lot of the things that both fighters were doing at different points just showed in the IQ of both fighters, and when to fight and when not to fight. You know, when to pick it up and when to slow it down and when to drop it. You know what I mean? When to take rounds off, if that's what you want to call it.
Well, I will say, I was a little bit disappointed with Danny not picking it up in certain spots.
I can see that. I see myself on this.
Yeah, there was moments in the fight where I think if Danny would have picked it up, like for instance, I thought Danny was lacking on throwing his best punch of the fight, which was his left hook. Yeah. I didn't see it that much tonight. And you saw in the last little 10, 15 seconds when Danny got a little bit excited and decided to let those hands go. You saw what was happening. Errol was caught off guard. He was hitting him with the left hook. Why didn't he throw those punches earlier in the fight? Like, at least in spots.
And I can say this from experience, man. Like, there's some times where you feel like you want to do it, you see it, but you hesitate for that split second and it disappears. And I think that happened with Danny a lot. There's been times where the angle didn't look good, but to us, see, that's different because we're in a different spot. That's why you have trainers. The angle looked good to us, but it probably didn't look good to him at the time. You know what I mean? So when he threw some of those shots, it was like, yo, if you just brought the other one, you've said it to me so many times. And it's like, yeah, I probably should have threw that shot. I didn't see it from that. I didn't see it that way when I was in there though.
Right.
And I can attest that that's a frustrating thing, especially when you watch it, replay it, and you see how many opportunities you could have had to be active and to land big shots. And Danny, without a doubt, probably waited a little too long at times. He was in the fight the whole time, in my opinion, but he still, I think, waited a little bit too long and let him get certain like shots off, like certain jabs, certain position that kind of threw him off by him being so, you know, like not say lackadaisical. That's not fair. That's not a fair assessment. It's more being like patient, too
right,
too careful. You know what I mean? Looking for the perfect shot. I do the same thing, and it can be frustrating for people watching or for the corner,
right?
Because there's so many opportunities he had to do better work. You know what I mean? But I did think Errol with his jab did offset a lot of his plans and a lot of what he was set up to do. So it was good. It was a good fight on both sides.
And all credit to Errol Spence, man. Errol Spence looked really, really good tonight, man. He answered the questions that we thought that he was going to bounce back from the car accident.
Definitely.
The fact that he fought, the fact that he fought Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
Out of all the people he could have fought, you know what I'm saying? He easily could have got a tune-up, and none of us would have questioned it. He picked Danny Garcia, and I thought that he won the fight. You know, even though I thought Danny did fantastic in the fight. And for those of you guys who said Danny got landslided, listen, listen, if you're telling me to my face Danny got landslided, you need to reevaluate your boxing IQ. Even if you gave Errol Spence every single round, technically on paper that's a landslide, but them rounds was like this. Them rounds was like this. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But they was close. You know what I'm saying? And you have to understand that in those close rounds, you know what I'm saying? That yes, you might lean toward one guy, but you can't say that he's completely dominating because one or two punches can change the decision of the round. So, you know, with that being said, I think that, you know, Danny Garcia showed the world that he belongs in the ring with all them guys. And unfortunately, this is how Danny falls short in all his big fights. Yeah. When he's fought Sean Porter, same thing. When he fought Keith Thurman, same thing. And now he fights Errol Spence. It's literally the same exact thing.
And you know what it is with Danny? He's trying to find too perfect of a situation. You know, when he's punching. And that's what, it's like what Angel was saying in the corner, too. It made sense. He was saying, like, man, stop. And when he was talking, actually, he was talking to the press at that time. He was saying he's looking for the perfect shot. He's waiting because he wants to see the perfect opportunity. There is no perfect opportunity. I've been told that so many times. You'll just throw the damn punch. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times my dad told me that earlier in my career, and Bashir and you and later in my career, same thing. Stop waiting on a perfect opportunity because there is no such thing as that. But it's in us, counter punchers. You know what I'm saying? We're looking for that perfect thing because we know we can get it because we've got it many times. May not have been a lot of knockouts from me, but I landed those shots constantly through the course of a fight. So I'm expecting to be able to do it all the time. So is he. And that's what happens. Like you get to that mode where you're just waiting and waiting, and then you wait so long that you end up being behind, and then you got to fight your way back into it. And it's hard to do that when you're counter punching.
Yeah, man. But other than that, man, it was a fantastic, fantastic chess match. And for you guys out there who want to learn how to fight the opposite stance, this was actually a really good fight to watch. If you watch how Danny Garcia, when he did have moments in the fight, the things he was doing, how he was slipping over his lead side, how he was shooting the right hand, how he was throwing the double right hand. I was actually impressed with that. Right hook to the head, right hook to the body, and then he'll spin left. These are little tricks that Danny Garcia was doing that are really effective from the opposite stance. And if you're a southpaw, you do the same exact things to a righty. Also, if you pay attention to how Errol Spence was lining that jab up, it just shows how a jab is effective against the opposite stance. A lot of people talk about, you know, you can't use a jab against a southpaw or southpaw. And listen, he was landing that jab all night long. So that just goes ahead and shows you that the jab works no matter what stance you're fighting. So if you're fighting an orthodox or a southpaw or whatever, that stick is just about positioning your body in a little bit of a better angle, and you'll be able to get that jab off. If I'm boxing a southpaw, then I want to be slightly to this angle to my left so I can get that jab off. If I'm a righty, same thing. I want to angle off to my right slightly just so I can get that angle. And the same thing with those lead crosses. You see him slipping off that line when he throws it, and the right hook to the body and all that stuff. I was a little surprised that Danny didn't follow up with the left hook. I'm good friends with his cut man who's in the corner, Billy Briscoe, and I'm actually going to give him a call, later on this week and ask him, like, did Danny hurt his left hand? Because, why didn't he throw the left hook? I'm very, very confused on why he didn't throw it.
Like we said, and a lot of times, honestly, when I don't fight southpaws, I didn't like the left hook in certain positions because it just didn't feel like it was going to land. Because if you're fighting a righty, it's on the left side. I mean, on the right side. So it's like if we're angled up, like sparring, fighting, whatever, the left hook, it just seems like it's better placed on a right-handed fighter than a southpaw. Although, if you realize a southpaw is fighting on this side, right? So the hook is more, to me, is possibly more of a blind shot for him than even a right-handed fighter. So if you could just trust it, sometimes to throw it anyway. I was sparring with this guy back in the day when I was young, and I don't know why I kept doing it or why I did it. But I destroyed him with the left hook. He was a southpaw, kept catching, counter, bang. I was checking him, bang. Like the whole sparring session destroyed his nose. He literally had to get his whole nose redone because of that.
Right.
And it's because of that hook. Danny just didn't trust it. And I kind of seen it. Like he was holding it. It was like it was there. He threw it a couple times early in the fight. It was like mean intentions, but it came up a little bit short. And I just think that he was like, man, that's just not going to land. I'm just going to go ahead and keep working on my right hand.
Yeah. And that's a shame because the hook was there.
It was there.
And especially after he landed that right hook to the body.
Yep.
Had he just followed up. Even if he grazed them, even if he made Errol turn back a little bit, it would have made it at least look like he landed a shot. You know what I mean? Or created another straight.
Right. If he would have just tried it some more, he would have maybe forced him in another position. Maybe he would have had something else come off. That's why I say activity is important. Right. You get the activity going, different things will come up. And that's why, like, in the fight, when he started really picking up shots and trying to throw in all them shots, especially like in the last round at the end, it's like, yo, probably need to do that a little sooner. Even if it's in spots periodically during a round, it might get you some of these rounds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's tough, man. It's tough when you're in there and you're trying to make these adjustments, man. It's really difficult at times to make adjustments, especially when you got a great fighter in front of you. So, I mean, my hats off to Danny. He did it. I think he did.
Yeah, I think Danny earned. I think he earned himself another fight. I think Danny Garcia gets a fight with Terrence Crawford. I think Danny Garcia gets a fight with, I guess, anybody in the division. He already fought damn near everybody in the division. So Terrence is the last one. I wouldn't be surprised if they match up Danny with Terrence, and I got probably the same outcome. You know what I'm saying? A very close fight going toward Terrence. I mean, Danny is that guy who's going to keep on making the fights competitive.
It's just going to be y'all will probably crucify for this. But anyway, it's a dangerous fight. And I'll say it's a dangerous fight for everybody because Danny just is that kind of guy. With his timing and his ability to punch. I don't see Terrence just like knocking him out or stopping him. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be around for rounds. And if Terrence gets lazy and makes a couple mistakes that sometimes Danny might catch him, you never know if he catches him. And he can be hurt. You know, Terrence Crawford can. So he's a live dog in that fight. Like he can legitimately do some damage in that fight, fighting Terrence Crawford. So I mean, it's styles make fights. It's an interesting fight. I'm not saying he wins. He probably gets outboxed, but with his ability to counterpunch and his timing and his understanding of what punches throw in certain situations, he has a shot at anybody.
Yeah, he got a shot at anybody. I mean, the only thing that I'm surprised about with Danny Garcia is the fact that he can't translate the power to 147 for one punch knockout power. It seems like as he stepped up in weight, he hasn't been as devastating with that one punch. So Danny has to figure out a way to put punches together better because he has basically lost due to inactivity at 147. 100%. And that's because at 140, he's been so used to knocking guys straight out. Yeah. And now at 147, he can't do that. He actually has to put 2, 3, 4 hits together. Even when he lands those beautiful punches, they're not doing the same things that they were doing before. And I don't think that he's fully adjusted to that yet. But the fight, like I said, was highly skilled. And for you guys out there that didn't see the skills in the fight, hey, man, that just, hey, not everybody knows boxing. You know what I mean? What did Roger Mayweather say?
Yeah. Most people don't know.
Most people don't know shit about boxing. So I'm not mad if you guys didn't see the skills. I just understand that most people don't know what the fuck. Yeah, you don't know what boxing is. So since you didn't see the skills and you thought that this was just a landslide and that Danny didn't do nothing, that's okay. That's okay for you to think that. But what you're going to do is you're going to miss the intricacies of the beautiful sport that we all love. And, luckily, you know what I'm saying, I'm not ignorant to those things. Eddie Chambers aren't ignorant to those things. And you guys, you guys got a lot to learn. What's the old saying goes? The man who thinks he knows it all knows nothing at all. Yeah. So, this is just education for you guys. At the end of the day, I'm a student of the game, and I'm going to stand by what I said. That was a highly, highly skilled fight. And my hat goes off to both of them guys. I think they both did their thing. What's next for Spence? Let's talk about the winner. What's next for Spence?
I've seen a couple of things on there talking about Spence, Terrence Crawford, who you got. I don't know what's next, honestly. I mean, they say, like Sean Porter was saying, he feels like he get a shot at either Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence because he's mandatory for both. Everybody wants to see one fight in that particular division, and that is Spence Crawford. I would love to see that fight. I don't know how soon it's going to happen. With Spence, though, his desire to fight whoever and the best guys that they have out there, I think the fight can happen. And Terrence Crawford saying he wants to fight. So what the hell is the problem making?
No, I don't think there's going to be a problem. I personally think that that they're going to fight.
Or they fight next.
Or they fighting next. I don't know. I mean, they're still mentioning Manny Pacquiao.
I was about to say Terrence Crawford was talking about Manny Pacquiao.
I mean, I don't blame Terrence for wanting Manny Pacquiao because there's money there. Yeah. I don't know if Manny Pacquiao. I think that's the fight that Manny Pacquiao probably should avoid if he had a chance to avoid anything because he's older, and if he gets hurt badly, that could change a lot of things considering his age. And I do think there's a possibility of Manny getting hurt in that fight only because of Manny's style. Manny's a jump-in type of a guy. He'll come in, he'll put his heart on his sleeve. But then what ends up happening is, you can see a Marquez situation or something like that. But I've been wrong. I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong betting against Manny Pacquiao. So Manny Pacquiao, if I was to have all the bets I've had with Manny Pacquiao and put money on, I've lost like 3 or 5. I picked Oscar De La Hoya to beat Manny Pacquiao. I picked who else did I pick to beat Manny Pacquiao, man? Just a few guys, man, who I thought was gonna beat Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao just whooped their ass. And I was like, yo, this guy, man, you can never bet against Pacquiao.
I just saw something.
Oh, who's that?
Somebody said I got 10 bands. I turned Eddie into Nate Robinson. God damn. Some of the best fighters in the world ain't be able to turn me into Nate Robinson, so that's cool. I hear you. If you were the best, that's cool.
Right, but I like to see Terrence Crawford.
No, I wouldn't beat your ass.
I like to see Terrence Crawford fight. I like to see Terrence Crawford fight Errol, of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But I like to see Terrence Crawford. If we're not gonna put Terrence Crawford right back in there with Errol, let's see him fight Sean Porter. Let's see him fight Sean Porter. Let's see him get past the Sean Porter test, because Sean Porter is like the gatekeeper of the elites. Like, if you want to get to that elite level, you got to pass Sean Porter. And Danny Garcia failed. Errol Spence barely got past him. So now it's Terrence's turn to get past him. Oh, yeah, Keith Thurman also got past him. We can't forget Keith Thurman. He's in the division too. But, with the shoulder injury and the layoff, we kind of forgot that he existed. But, he's still a guy. But what's next for Danny Garcia is the question.
He's right there. He's right there. He has to really go back to the drawing board and understand how to stop being so, I don't want to say even cautious, because it's not even so much that he's cautious. It's just like so calculated. You know what I mean? You have to learn at times that it's like Errol, man. You watch Errol Spence. That's the perfect person for him to see firsthand why you lose. You look right in the mirror. Well, not in the mirror. You look right at the fighter in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this dude is putting his hands on me. And I'm looking for one perfect shot, and he's putting his hands on me in the meantime. Next thing I know, I'm down rounds. You know what I'm saying? So I got to figure out how to put my style at work, but more on a more constant basis. Like I got to put my hands on guys more. Like take throwaway shots. Just put something on their head, touch them a little bit. Just do your thing. Be who you are. I'm not saying change that and never do it, but I am saying you got to put your hands on these guys more. Like use your jab. Your jab then becomes more active. Use something to just get your motor going. And give the judges something to watch, something to see, some activity. Because what happens is Danny's not losing these fights by a landslide. He's not getting wiped out. He's not getting outskilled. None of that stuff is really happening. The things that's happening is he's being outworked, strictly outworked. He's doing good stuff, just as many good things in the ring, or as any of the guys he's lost to.
That's
just as many. The only thing is he's being outworked. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no question in my mind that if he was more active, even with the same style, maybe not throwing as many punches as they are, but just active in spots, he could win these fights. He could be winning these fights. They're that close.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree. Let's see what some of the people talking about, man. Somebody's saying some funny stuff, man.
Yeah, my man said,
I'm not a boxer. I'm a light-skinned dude that learned how to box.
Hey, that's
to stop getting picked on in school for being Muslim. So you're light-skinned, you're Muslim, you was getting bullied. Yeah. Yo, man, I'm glad you learned how to...
Hey, I made a career. For myself.
Look, he's light-skinned, you know what I'm saying? He used to get bullied. He's just not Muslim.
Okay, hold on. Who's light-skinned?
Look at our skin complexion. We are the same skin complexion.
Do we really look the same? I don't see the same. I see darkness.
He swear he not light-skinned. Yo, is Eddie light-skinned? Look, is Eddie light-skinned, man? I need y'all to drop that in the comments below. You know what I'm saying?
Look at my face. Now look at my hair. Look at my face, nigga. Look at my complexion. I am dark. Okay, it's not the summer right now.
Right. You know what I mean?
Wintertime color.
Right. But look, Danny said I'm
what your home said? Oh, he said I'm light skinned.
See, look, how to boxing. Yes. You're light skinned. You're light skinned, Eddie.
Yo,
be clear.
Go ahead. Somebody say something.
Look, Eddie is brown, not dark. Okay, so that's light skinned. If you were brown in African American culture, you are light skinned.
Copper tone. Copper tone. Brown, not dark. I like that. Yeah. Let me. Man,
you're either dark skin. You're either dark skin or light skin. There ain't no in between, man.
I don't even know how to scroll in this shit. Hey, I'm gonna say
everything. He yellow. Look.
I'm white.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. Back to being serious about boxing.
Light skin and living queen.
Look, we can't.
Yeah, a couple shades darker than caramel. Cool, I like that. They ain't no yellow guy. I seen that shit again, yo.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Should Danny become the gatekeeper of the division now? I mean, I guess he's kind of worked his way to something similar to a gatekeeper. Unfortunately, I think that he's still above a gatekeeper. But
just said a shade above, I'll be sure. I'm about to quit. I'm about to leave, man. Come on,
man. I think that Danny Garcia, unfortunately, is a gatekeeper, even if he doesn't know it, because he's lost to all the top guys. So when you lose to all the top guys, there's one thing to lose against one top guy, but when you lose to all the top guys, by like 3-4 points.
Damn, niggas keep saying.
Why was Angel so quiet after the fight? Angel was quiet because his son lost. And I think he knew he lost, and I think he also knew he could have won. And what would make that frustrating for me as a coach would be I know he could have won that fight had he just did a few little things a little bit different. But then again, if he would have made those adjustments, Errol would have made those adjustments to adjust to Danny. So we'll never really know unless they fought again and Danny did those things. But, at the end of the day, I just think that he's a little disappointed. But you can't be that disappointed. His son leaves healthy. His son put a good showing for himself. I think his son gets another fight. So he made money and he looked good in a loss, in a defeat. I thought he looked good in defeat. You got guys who, when they get defeated, they look terrible. I think he looked good in defeat, if that makes any sense. Do you agree?
Yeah, he did.
He looked good in defeat.
He looked good in a situation. He looked as good as he could in that position. And from what happened in the fight, I just think that Errol was a little bit better. It's just like the other guys he fought at the time. And I think in this fight, I think he was a little bit better in this fight. The other fights, I felt like Danny was just as good as the other guys. I feel like Errol was a little better than him. You know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, his activity and his understanding of the situation was what won him the fight. He definitely was a little better than him. But Danny was in the fight. Danny could have won the fight. It's just he had to take advantage of the situation a little bit different. But I think Errol was a little better. I feel like Keith Thurman wasn't necessarily better. I definitely didn't think Sean was a little bit better. I thought that he just let them take the fight. He let them take the fight at the time when he needed to take it. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you got the food right there. All you got to do is eat. And he was just hesitating. He hesitated, give him an opportunity. And he hesitated maybe 2 or 3 minutes too late. And now they took their shit. They took the food off the plate before he can get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, man, because I think that it's just one of those fights, man. Let's see what's going on. Bang on, Eddie. Danny just doesn't do enough work, especially against a taller fighter who is consistently landing the jab. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's very difficult to beat a taller guy who got a good jab. That's for one. You know what I'm saying? If a guy's taller than you and he has a good jab, you already got 2 things against you. But I thought that Danny was doing a good thing. I thought he was getting around the jab. I just thought that he wasn't consistently getting around the jab. So it was more of a consistency thing with Danny Garcia as opposed to a skill set or approach or, stuff like that. I just think that Danny has to work on volume and work on his volume. And I don't know if at this stage of his career, this can be changed. I mean, he's already a veteran world champion, 2-time world champion. It's kind of hard to break a guy at this stage. That's why they say, you want to ingrain these things in a fighter early. But, you never know, man. Anything's possible. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he could do something. You know what I mean? Somebody wrote the fight was rigged.
Somebody said Danny washed.
I don't think Danny's washed at all, man.
Oh man.
I'll let you take this one, Danny. I mean, go ahead.
Washed up though? Like, see, all right. My definition of washed up is like somebody getting in and they can't pull the trigger, just getting hit, getting stopped early by dudes that he would have not only went the distance with, but probably would have beat. But to say he washed up after 3 losses that were all competitive fights with the top of the division, with the very best in the division, he washed. Nah, man. Like, you gotta really pay attention. When you say stuff, people react. I get you react to things and you want to say something emotionally, honestly. It just off of emotion, first thing you want to say. But to say a guy's washed up, like his skills are eroded, like he don't got a future, like come on, the guy was 2-time world champion. He lost to guys who were world championship level guys. That happens. Back in the day, how many times the dudes look at Ali? Ali got 5 losses on his record. Of course, some of those came after, he shouldn't have been fighting no more. But the reality of it is he lost before. You know what I mean? There's guys that lose. Everybody's not Floyd Mayweather. It don't work like that. That don't mean you washed. You got plenty of fight left in you. Shit, I got plenty of fight left in me. It just doesn't necessarily mean I want to put it out there. It depends on the situation. If you want it, then you can go get it. But he not washed. Not at all. Not even a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just lost the fight. He didn't lose the fight by getting knocked out and they had to carry him out the ring because he shouldn't have been in there. Had nothing to do with that shit. Like, he just was in there and got beat by the better man, like he said. Guy was a little bit better tonight, a little more active, but he was in the fight all the way.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. Some of you guys, man, you guys make me laugh, man. It's crazy, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to judge. I understand, you know what I mean? It's easy to judge. But at the end of the day, man, it's like, what about Danny Garcia made it look like he was washed up tonight? Like, what about it? The guy was counterpunching. The guy was fighting. The guy was fighting. For one, we're fighting Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah.
You're not fighting, Joe Schmo from the corner store. Yeah. You're fighting Errol Spence Jr., who's stopping guys, obliviating guys, destroying guys. Mm-hmm. And arguably, Danny Garcia is making this and he's washed up.
Hey,
come on, man.
Well, you know what it is. Like I said, people want to talk. They want to just react. Oh, he's washed. First thing, okay, Deontay Wilder's washed. Lost to Tyson Fury.
Yeah. Deontay Wilder's washed up.
He's done.
He's finished.
Is that fair? He lost one fight. One fight. And I am not a big, I'm talking about skill-wise, Deontay Wilder fan. But he lost one fight. He's not washed up. He still has more fights left in him. Believe me. If you lose one fight or 3 fights, it depends on how you lose them. If you would have got knocked out early and got knocked out in the 8th round, got demolished every round, start thinking about maybe talking about the end of his career. But the way he lost, hell no. Hell no. I don't even want to hear it. Don't even make sense to me.
Yeah, no. Listen, man, I don't have no words, man. Some of these guys, man, they trolling in there. That's all right.
This dude is funny, though.
Yeah, which one?
Somebody said, yeah.
How big is your cack? What?
Stop.
Pause, man. Bro. I don't know what you're talking about, bro, but that just sounds gay. Like, no disrespect to gay people, but that don't.
He's talking shit.
Oh my God, bro, this is terrible, man. Listen, man, I'm not even gonna entertain y'all, man, but you know.
Jake Paul. Somebody said Jake Paul #1.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
I like that.
Nah, man. I mean, you know, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, man, what now?
For you mean the division or Danny or was it?
Yeah, like what now? Like this year we've had some really good boxing. Does Canelo fight this year, or is that early?
Yeah. He fight. Is
it fight next week?
Yeah, I think it's next week. I'm not
mistaken.
All right,
so we got.
It's a good fight too.
Yeah, we got.
I think he'll beat him. You know what I mean? But dude can fight. Dude from the UK. Like, I like. He's big guy too, tall, like 6'3", I think, or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So you was in the UK. Was he any good? That kid?
The kid he's fighting? Yeah, no. The kid is like the next. If there's I guess at 175, I think it is, right? He's the next guy, I guess. You know, to Canelo, I guess, in that division. So you know what I mean. So he can fight. He's good. He's legit. He's not. Canelo will beat him. But I just don't know how.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. Yeah, guys. So tonight, man, was good boxing. That was more or less our thoughts on it. Guys, go to the website, CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. We're still doing the Black Friday sale. Only for you guys, for all my exclusive people who are on here right now. We're going to get to that 1 second, Eddie.
Yeah, you saw that.
All the exclusive people who are on here right now, you see I got the discount code CABoxing50. I'm not promoting it on Instagram. I'm not promoting it on... You know what I'm saying, on my website. This is strictly for y'all. So the 100+ people that are in here right now, if you guys ever wanted anything off my website, you guys are basically going to get a 75% off. All my prices are marked down in half. And with the discount code, we'll cut that in half. So take advantage of that. Go ahead, Eddie. What do you see right there?
I seen somebody say, well, I lost the other one, but now I'm saying they said Danny's the 7th best in the division.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's definitely an elite. He's an elite fighter, whatever division. Well, from 140 to 147, he's definitely an elite fighter. I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? But some of the other guys that you put in there, you say like he's the 7th best. I feel like he can beat some of those guys.
I feel like he could beat some of those guys on that list that was the 7th best. But if you want to be technical, the guy might be right.
Well, I mean, as last looks, but he just fought maybe the #1 guy. That doesn't necessarily put him all the way down the damn line. He lost to the #1 guy.
But he also lost to the other guys on the list.
Maybe the next two.
Right, because he lost to Errol.
Yeah.
So we gotta say he's behind Errol.
He's definitely behind
Errol. He
Errol.
lost to Porter. He lost to Thurman.
Okay.
He never fought Pacquiao, but we can't put him above Pacquiao because Pacquiao is still undisputed guy. So that's 4 right there.
And who
the other guy, you guys, I say he's above you guys.
But that's what I'm saying.
You guys is good, but who do you guys beat to go over Danny? You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to say Danny's over you guys. So now we go up to 6. And who was the other guy?
Wait, hold
on. There was another guy in there.
Spence, Crawford, Pacquiao, Thurman, you guys, Porter.
So the only guy, so that's 1, Spence, Crawford, Pacquiao, Thurman, you guys, Porter.
I feel like he's a
so that would make him 7. No, I would say you guys is after Danny, and then Danny's behind everybody. Oh, Crawford, he never fought Crawford.
Right.
But Crawford
technically is number 1,
so,
number 2.
Yeah, so we're good. So I say Danny's 6. You're close, but we can't put you guys over Danny. We can't, not yet. You know what I'm saying? Because
you may like him better.
And he might be able to beat Danny. But Danny's fought the better people and has performed and was a 2-time world champion. I just think that you guys,
his resume
you guys is kind of like a gatekeeper too. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like a solid contender. But I just think that Danny's just, you know. But then again, you never know. I mean,
it's hard, man. It's hard to.
Those guys should maybe fight each other. Maybe that'd be a good bounce back fight for Danny. Like fight you guys, and let's see where you're at with you guys. You know,
that is a good fight. That is a good fight to come back in.
That's a good solid fight for Danny to win if he could win. You know, unless Danny just chases the money and fights a big name like Crawford, just to, you know what I'm saying, see how he does against Crawford, which wouldn't be totally out the picture because Crawford done fought, you know what I'm saying, Crawford hasn't really fought everybody yet. Yeah, Crawford hasn't fought the same level as Danny. So Crawford against Danny is still a pick 'em fight until you see it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Even though, I mean, I'm probably leaning with Crawford in that one, you know? Yeah. Let's see here. What about Virgil Ortiz? I don't know much about him. I seen his highlights. I know they're comparing him to Jaron Ennis, and I know that
that's another kid that I like.
Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz are kind of like on that same battlefield right now. You got the East Coast versus the, you know, American Mexican or whatever, and they're kind of climbing at their own pace, but they're eventually going to maybe meet each other. I like them both. You know, Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz are both climbing quickly. I don't know. I have to see more of those guys, though. You know what I'm saying? To really make a decision on who I think is the better fighter. I mean, have you seen Virgil fight?
No, I haven't seen much of
it. Yeah, I haven't seen. I only seen highlights of Virgil. I just think that Jaron Ennis might be a little more craftier. I know he's a little bit more craftier. I just don't know if he could beat him. I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So that's basically it, yo. I think I'm gonna keep it short and simple tonight, right? I mean, that was basically it, guys. You guys saw the fight. We saw the fight. Big shout out to you know, Danny Garcia and Errol Spence. Big shout out to Errol Spence, man, for coming back. You know, what he did was incredible, man. I mean, what he went through, those pictures, man, of his car accident.
That's crazy.
Those are devastating pictures, man. And I don't even know how to that's bad, bro. Like anybody who could bounce back from that, man, deserves a lot of credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I see that. You see that?
Eddie should fight Joyce.
You know what, man? I was saying that I was like watching guys, and I mean, I got respect for all of them, but you know, like I look at those guys, and I look at Joyce. I look at what's his name? God damn it, the kid he fought. I can't even think of his name right now, and I mean, they're tough. They're big, strong guys, but it's like those are just the kind of guys I took advantage of my entire career. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it would just be easy for me to just go in there and take them apart, especially at this point where I'm old. You know what I mean? So, but it just I've always really felt comfortable in there with guys like that because to me it's just easy to see the shots coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm a defensive guy. I'm a counter-punching guy. So seeing those type of things thrown at me is almost like it looks like it's in slow motion. But look, Joyce, regardless of Daniel Dubois, yeah, thank you. Somebody put it up there. But Joyce is a winner. Like he's been winning. So you can say whatever the hell you want about him. And even me, I can say whatever the hell I want about him. He's still winning fights. He did well in the Olympics. He did well as an amateur. He's doing well as a pro. So, you know, for me to think that I could just go in there and beat him, I know it sounds kind of out of bounds, but the reality is I feel like I could. You know what I mean? It's got to be, everything's got to be right. My mind got to be right. Everything's got to be in position, and I got to go in there and actually do the work. But the reality is the ability's here. I can do it. I should be able to fight anybody I want. But I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Same Schuler boxing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yo. So, all right, guys. You guys already know what it is, man. Go to the website, CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. Be on the lookout for some more videos on the YouTube channel. It's coming very soon. And thank you guys for tuning in. And get your boxing IQ up, man. If you don't think that this was a good fight tonight, man. If you think it was just a one-sided easy fight, learn the game a little bit more, all right? And that's my message to y'all today, man. And thank you for tuning in. Take care.